Oh, my age?
No. Good evening. I'd like to call the, July 16th Water Pollution Control Authority and regular town council meeting to order. It is 6:35. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Here.
Present.
Here.
Counselor Diamond. Here. Counselor Gold.
Here.
Counselor Miller.
Here.
Counselor Palladino.
Here.
Counselor Felicia.
Here.
Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the June 18th WPCA Town Council meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, no, either way.
Motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? The next one is minutes of the June 25th special meeting of Town Council via Zoom. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay.
I abstain.
Okay.
I abstain from the Zoom meeting.
Got it.
I was. Oh, I have to abstain too, sorry.
Okay. So motion carries. Okay, on to the regular agenda. Water Pollution Control Authority. Correspondence regarding WPCA. None. There's no unfinished business, no new business. Any citizen statements regarding WPCA? Okay. We are on to the regular town council meeting. Community events and presentations. Seeing none, we will move on to reports of committees, boards, and commissions. First one is economic development.
Oh, I have.
Okay, no problem. Next one is Park and Recreation. Park and Rec met on Tuesday, June 25th. They had a lengthy discussion on standardizing signs for the youth sports to be put up on the fences around, whether it's football, baseball, that type of thing. Part of the issue becomes warranty on the fences if there's any damage because they're not taken down or they're too big, windstorms, that type of thing. So they're setting standards for signage because that is a major fundraiser for youth sports. So they don't want to inhibit that, but they want to have some consistent guidelines for their signage. So there was quite a discussion in regards to that. They discussed appropriation transfers, which will be later on our agenda. The month in review, they're serving over 300 meals a month through the senior program. Their summer camp program started in June, and they have been waitlisting on the weeks. It's been very successful, having a lot of people out. They had the senior picnic in June. They also had Touch a Truck. They had a few different socials. And of course, the big thing right now is they are gearing up for the POCO Festival. We are less than 3 weeks away, and things are all coming together. Anyone here who would like to volunteer, we would gladly take volunteers. All of my colleagues on the council tonight got forms. And I appreciate any and all help that you can give us. So it's a go, and we're just praying for the beautiful weather that we had last year, because it was the perfect weekend for POCO last year. And also our sponsors, we have a number of sponsors here tonight. We greatly appreciate all of your sponsorship. We could not do this without our sponsors. So we will be advertising all of our sponsors continuously, because they are a huge help to the POCO Fest, and our volunteers. So we will take any and all volunteers that weekend. That's all I have on Park and Rec. Next is Police Commission.
The Police Commission did not meet this month, however, just a reminder to everyone, tomorrow's an exciting day for the police department. At 9:30 in the morning is a grand opening of the new police facility, and tomorrow night at 6:30 in the auditorium, there's the swearing-in ceremony of our new chief and deputy chief.
Okay, Fire Commission.
Next meeting is, I'm trying to think, is it next week? Nothing to report at the time.
Okay, Planning and Zoning. Tom is not here tonight. Finance Subcommittee did not meet in July. We took the summer off. So our next meeting will be August 13th. Public Safety Communications Subcommittee.
My understanding is that everything went well today, the 911 transfer.
Great. Inland Wetlands.
The next meeting is next Wednesday, July 24th.
Okay. And Blueprint. I know Tom's not here.
We didn't meet.
You didn't meet. Okay, great. All right, that concludes committee reports. On to town manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. As Councilor mentioned, tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. we're holding a ribbon cutting ceremony at the Police Department in EOC, located at 305 Foxton Road.
Thursday.
Federal, state, and local officials will be on hand to celebrate as the police department cuts over this week from the old building to the new facility. Special guests at this event will include Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro and State House Minority Leader Vincent Candelora, both of whom were instrumental in securing funds towards the new facility. And as Councilor Diamond also mentioned, the festivities will continue tomorrow as we hold a formal swearing in of our new Chief Police James Lovelace and our new Deputy Chief Michael Pendleton. This event has been capably organized by our own Councilor Marie Diamond and will be held at the North Branford Auditorium at 654 Foxton Road, 6:30 p.m. After the ceremony, light refreshments will be served in the auditorium lobby. And also, as Councilor Diamond mentioned, the communications cut over. Used to be slow, like all my stuff. That's okay, but I still want to read it. The non-emergency 911 from the old PD to the new building took place today, and during my last check-in with the chief, all is proceeding fine. We still good? We're good. Okay, all right, that's good news. So we're good there. We also want to welcome 2 new police officers. You'll remember we had 2 new officers that were in the academy, Nicholas Trevino Martinez and Anthony Perotti, following their graduation from the Connecticut Police Academy in Meriden, class 381. And we wish them a safe and rewarding career as they take up their new duties here in North Branford. Extreme hot weather protocol. You may have noticed that it's hot outside, or what we refer to in North Branford as POCO weather. Hoping that doesn't carry through this year. This week marks the 3rd time that the governor's implemented an extreme hot weather protocol this season, as we're in the midst of another heat wave. And in consideration of this, North Branford has again opened our cooling stations through Wednesday night, July 17th. Our cooling stations are at the North Branford Town Hall, open from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and the Atwater Memorial Library from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Residents can also dial 211 or visit 211ct.org to find additional sheltering locations near them. POCO was already mentioned by our Mayor Angeloni, and I would not presume to have an update on that, as we have our own mayor here who is one of the festival coordinators to report, but we're looking forward to an exciting festival this year, August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, thanks to the coordinators, volunteers, sponsors, and vendors, as well as our police, fire, and public works department, for all the advanced planning that is going on in making this the most successful POCO festival yet. And I did want to note that the Veterans Service Commission will be sponsoring a Purple Heart event on Sunday noon at the festival, where we will be designated as a Purple Heart community, which is one of the tasks that the new commission had been assigned. I was pleased to join Mayor Angeloni and State Representative Vin Candelora in congratulating 3 very special leaders in the North Branford community who were recognized by North Branford Rotary Club on June 28th at Woodlands in Branford. Mary Ellen DeLella, and of the Totucket Historical Society, Ashley McLean, who is the founder of Beyond Horizon Incorporated, and our own Park and Rec Assistant Director, Carrie Haynes, were each recognized for their tremendous contributions to our community as they were awarded the Service Above Self Award and presented with citations from the state of Connecticut and the town of North Branford. And we once again offer all of them congratulations and thanks for everything they do for our town. At the end of last month, I launched the first weekly email newsletter from my office to town residents, updating them on town news and announcements. I've started with a database of roughly 4,000 town residents, which grows daily, and I'm pleased to report that the open rate of the email stands at 62%, or roughly 2,500 individual unique openers, which is pretty good. 35% would actually be a great open rate for this kind of message, so it has overperformed expectations. Residents interested in receiving this email newsletter can sign up on the town website, northbranford.gov, northbranfordct.gov, or via my Facebook page. Our bond rating note rating with Standard & Poor's has recently been completed, and our AA+ bond rating has been reaffirmed, and our outlook has been deemed stable. Our notes were rated SP1+. Council has in their folders a memorandum from our Finance Director, Anthony Esposito, which gives greater detail on our rating, and I'd like to bring him up briefly to give some more detail and answer any questions that councilors might have on that.
Well, thank you. As the manager had mentioned, as I mentioned, I think last council meeting, we had our bond rating typically before you go out into the market. Standard & Poor's does an overview, updates their information, how are things going, that sort of thing. And as the manager mentioned, our AA+ rating, which in the scale you have in the memo is basically the second highest. AAA rating is typically towns with larger grand lists, bigger communities than North Branford. So the AA, we weren't looking for a rating upgrade, so we're happy to stay with the AA rating. Again, as I mentioned in the memo, they use terms like a very strong capacity to pay, low market risk, affluent primary residential community, cautious budgeting practices, again, falls back on you folks, manageable retirement costs, all are things that are positive reflections. And again, it's a tribute to all the department heads who work collaboratively to follow out the practices that you guys endorse, and the manager, we all work together as a team and get these things done. And proud of the report. We're going to the market this Thursday, and we'll get a report back to you as to how we play out as far as what kind of rates we get for both the bonds and the short-term notes. As I mentioned previously, the market is kind of skewed still. So the short-term rates, which historically had been very low, lower than the bond rates, are now almost parallel. So it could be 3.5, 3.75 for both the 20-year bonds, a portion that we're bonding, as well as the 1-year notes. So it's kind of just an anomaly. When we started these bonding projects for the school and such, the 1-year bonds were like around 1%. So as you can see, the interest rates are very imperative that we kind of get on ahead of these early if we could, but just the way that things play out, you can't bond it all in one shot because then you'd blow your debt service. They did mention in here about the audit being filed, not timely, and we didn't really know how to close Munis until last month for the 23 year. So that's been taken care of. Michelle will be at your meeting in August to review the audit. We'll get it to you ahead of time so you can review it, and she'll be here to address any questions you have about the 23 audit. Any questions about this, the rating?
Thank you, Anthony. Library negotiation status. As you know, we've been completing our labor negotiations, and we've approved contracts for 2 of the 3 bargaining units with collective bargaining agreements that are up this year. I want to report that we're very close to completing our negotiations with the library group, our 1 remaining unit. We did have a late start in negotiating with them this year, owing to the fact that they were in the process of changing their representation from AFSCME to the Teamsters. And we hope to have a tentative agreement for the council at your August meeting. We've begun to promote sign-up for the town's new emergency notifications platform, Civic Ready. The new alert features easy opt-in for town residents to receive emergency notifications and news. It's available in 60+ languages, and recipients can receive notices by phone, text, email, or via mobile app. Geolocation also allows us to target alerts to specific areas of town. Also, it integrates with our new Civic Plus Town website by sending splash page alerts and notifications to website subscribers. You can sign up to the town on the town webpage or call 475-655-0400 to sign up. Thanks to our team at the North Branford Solid Hazardous Waste Recycling Committee and our Public Works Department for another successful electronics recycling event in conjunction with Take Two Secure Electronics Recycling Incorporated. Despite a very rainy start, which took place last Saturday, July 13th at Public Works headquarters on Route 22, they collected 6,248 tons, including 40 mattresses, thanks to these dedicated volunteers for braving the elements for this event. We'll be doing a ribbon cutting to welcome Ariel's Barbershop, located at Twin Lakes Plaza, 999 Foxen Road, Suite 7, on Tuesday, July 23rd at 2 p.m. Councilors are invited to join us as we welcome them to the North Branford community. We have additional ribbon cutting events planned, and they will be announced soon. You can enrich your outdoor adventures by learning to read a map and use a compass, and then test your new skills with some orienting games in an event sponsored by the North Branford Public Libraries at North Farms Park, July 17th, 10:30 a.m. Registration is required, recommended for children ages 5 to 11. And we'll be holding a second training session for elected and appointed members of boards and commissions and their clerks on parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Order, and compliance with the Freedom of Information Act. Our last session was very successful. We had 20 members and clerks show up. This session will be held on Wednesday, September 18th, 6 o'clock p.m. here in the Town Council chambers, and those wishing to attend should RSVP to Gina in my office at gcox@northbranfordct.gov. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Next is Permanent Project Building Committee.
For the North Branford High School, Phase 2, the final adjustments have been completed on the elevator and HVAC rooftop units. Startup commenced on July 15th, and all units are expected to be running by the end of the day tomorrow. Storefront and curtain wall is 95%. Final paint is ongoing on the second floor. The tile on the second floor is complete. The first floor locker rooms are in progress, with the staircase and lobby remaining. Light fixtures are complete on the first floor and ongoing on the second floor. At North Branford Intermediate School, the project is approximately 50% complete. PVC roofs in the north and gymnasium moving towards the auditorium have been completed, and all new sloped roof framing and weatherproofing has been installed. Metal roofing is expected to be delivered in mid-August. The existing wall and leak investigation, per the direction of the PPBC, the design and construction team worked to evaluate the metal siding installation on the existing building. A comprehensive report was issued and identified improperly flashed window and head jam and sill conditions, and rips and failures in the existing weather barrier in the wall. A new weather barrier was applied in a small area where leaks were previously present, and since the replacement, no further leaks in that area were observed. The committee continues to review similar conditions around the building. The work is scheduled to be weather tight by the start of school, and work will be required during the fall months to close out the final installation and will be performed outside of school operating hours. For the North Branford Police Department, the building is now complete with punch list items being worked on. The temporary certificate of occupancy has been issued, and the move-in schedule is for today, as we know. A plan is underway to address the humidity issue in the building, which will be handled by reprogramming the HVAC controls. As the council is aware, temporary portable dehumidifiers were brought in at the end of last week to improve conditions. Also, air filters are in process of being changed in accordance with contractual requirement. This evening, we're pleased to have with us Al Rose and Dave Palumbo of the Permanent Project Building Committee to give greater detail on the ongoing status of the PD building and the humidity issues, as well as the whole PD issue overall, and answer any questions councilors might have.
So do you have any questions right off the bat, or do you want us to tell you what we, where we're at? And Walter was there last night, so he got to see what's going on. Full view last night. Well, yeah. I do understand that today, and actually Victor PeDiandria brought it up last night, that on Procore, they haven't changed their filters in the system since April. Now, as a builder, you can't go 3 weeks while you're building inside the building without changing your filters. So that just goes to show the incompetence of everybody in charge over there. Apparently they changed filters today and it's made a huge difference inside that building. The filters they pulled out were clogged, they were damp, and I didn't see them, I saw pictures of them, but that's what I've heard. And if
We were there today
If
for a
I'm
couple
wrong,
hours.
yeah, correct it.
Some of us from the permanent projects, Victor, clerk of the works, we were all there today doing our walkthrough for a punch list, adding items, seeing if items have been completed. We decided to pull all the filters. Every filter in that building was clogged. We had some at the building that we replaced. Franny ended up getting more today, I think, and replacing the rest. And I believe by tomorrow we'll see a considerable difference if we haven't already seen it today. We were there a couple hours. You know, we do have a humidity issue. They are going to reprogram the system. We gave them direction last night as Walter was there. We gave them some ultimatums, some deadlines, including holding back some money last night to get their attention, quite frankly. We started this last Wednesday. It was an all-day affair last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, up until yesterday that several of us were there multiple hours, including the chief, dealing with it. On Thursday, we decided to bring the dehumidifiers in for Friday morning. We couldn't get direction from Newfield. We couldn't get direction from SBA. We had Lou Fonda from Enterprise Heating and Cooling work directly with SBA, so the town was taken out of it, so we didn't give the direction to do it ourselves. We brought them in and maintained it, you know, over the weekend. Humidity is going to break, obviously, I think on Thursday, but we're changing the filters, getting NCON or SBA. I told them last night, the rest of the group, listen, we need an answer by tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. They were on it. There is going to be a PCO coming to us. My opinion, as the permanent projects group says, once we get, it's a $3,500 charge, which we are going to go back to SBA for. So we don't believe it's on us. But if we didn't take this action to do it, you know, everything would sit in limbo again. So we do have a punch list has grown today of you know, items. We are getting it tonight. You know, one of our members wrote it all down as a handful of us walk through. We're going to fire that off to Mike Fumati tomorrow. He'll get it off to SBA to correct the rest of the punch list items. You know, there's probably a couple of pages worth of issues that, you know, is it major? Some have to be addressed.
The humidity is the whole thing that was going on last week.
Yeah.
And I, you know, looking back now, I take my hat off to Mike for calming us down. I mean, I know some of you guys were seeing a bunch of the emails, and I'm sure you heard about it. And you know, our building committee is made up with mostly people that run their own business, and we have to stand behind our own work. So when I got a text Wednesday morning showing me that the humidity was 88% in that building, and nothing happened. The builder did nothing, didn't respond. SBA did nothing, didn't respond. And you know, so we can't go directly to NCON, and NCON is the heating and cooling company that did they're a huge company. They certainly have the ability to straighten this out. There's all kinds of theories out there on the system's too small, the system's too big. We did what was spec'd, so you know, we're not doing anything else without a change order. And in the meantime, the building was 88% humidity. So with Mike's help, we were able to come up with a kind of directing SBA to say, okay, you know, we can get these. I think there's 10 units in there, still in there, that are taken out. And I don't know, is it, Victor, 300 gallons a day?
300 gallons a day as of today at 12 o'clock in the afternoon is about 2,000 gallons.
So, you know, that's in there. But I will tell you, when I saw those filters, they're going to make a huge difference. Clogged filters, And that just goes to show, that's like elementary below class 101, that the system won't work right without filters. They somehow tried to balance the system, which they still don't have a report on the balancing, which again, the computer can be set up to run correctly. The balancing is going to have to be redone because they didn't have clean air filters. And, you know, and the problem is the people that these companies put on the job, for lack of a better word, they're kids. Okay? They're kids. They might be 25 years old. They're out of college with a construction management degree. They have no idea what they're looking at. And it's across the board. It's at the high school and at the PD. So it was really frustrating for all of us on the committee. Like, how can nobody be reacting to this but us? So after last night, and then, you know, changing the filters is going to be huge. Reprogramming it will be huge. I mean, there was just as many people saying that the system was too big. And what was happening is it was hitting the cooling temperature very easily and very quickly. But it doesn't dehumidify if it's not on. So it shuts off because it's on temperature. But, you know, it wasn't programmed to run for humidity yet. So that's one of the things that's going to happen. And the only thing I can assure the council and the townspeople is we have somewhere around 600,000 to 700,000 in retainage, and I can promise you there will not be one penny released until we're 110% happy with it.
Punch list included.
You know, that's really all we have to report about. But on a brighter note, we're really happy with the contractor working on the intermediate school.
Right.
We're not happy with what he's funding and what we bought 15 years ago. But the intermediate school that contractor is
Who is the contractor?
doing a great job.
Barrett Roofing,
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
Very good.
I
He
drive by
is.
it all the time. They're doing
we
Yeah,
just gave him
and
a
he's- yeah.
directive last week to do another exploratory on a different part of the school because we've had such good success with the one area that had been a problem for 15 years. This guy is top of the line. They've been very good to us. A lot of recommendations. We've been out there when he finds stuff. We go up on the roofs. We see what's going on. So it's, you know, as we see it on the permanent projects, we can't allow you guys to spend all this money and not solve the problem. So, you know, we're willing to give exploratory a certain dollar amount to do more exploratory surgery to find out where we are having problems. And that's what we've directed him last week to do another scope of work. So,
Doing a great job.
I think that's it.
yeah, pretty
That's
much.
where we're at. If you guys have any questions.
So
Excuse me. So I was fortunate to walk it the other day.
The intermediate or high school?
No, the police department.
Oh, the police part, yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Beautiful building.
Absolutely beautiful. My concerns is what I do for a living. And there's a lot of money up there,
Yeah.
a lot of money up there. If anything fails, it's negligence on our part. We have to pay for all that equipment,
he's talking IT.
Right.
okay? So I'm hoping that that's part of punch list, which is cleaning.
Absolutely. We found today that there's some issues that we have to address, and that's on the
A lot of cleaning.
That it hasn't been cleaned according to contract.
Right.
So,
So,
Okay, so just
yeah.
like I said, I was
You know,
very
and with
fortunate
the
to
all
walk.
the humidity and heat in that building, I mean, if we had failures, you know, as far as we were concerned, we were going back to SBA
So, there's
or Newfield.
So that's my thing, so, and just cleaning, because it was just,
Yeah,
but it's absolutely
It's a-
gorgeous.
it's a
I mean,
must.
just,
yeah, I mean, I'll say that the structure is, you know, nothing wrong with the structure, and their interior finish work is, you know, almost high-end residential quality.
The other.
That was a surprise to me, after seeing
Unbelievable.
what these guys,
So the other concern is because of the humidity, is the what?
Is the what?
The water that's in the ducts. I'm hoping
Yep.
that's part of, that has to be cleaned. So not just.
especially with the clogged filters.
Right.
And clean the ducts,
Yep.
because they have to be wiped out, just like the high school,
Right, absolutely.
so. But otherwise, great job.
The filters should have been done weeks ago.
Yeah.
Again.
You know.
But it was done today, and
Right.
we'll stay on it, and I'm sure we'll be there. I mean, we've spent days upon days, all of us there, dealing with it every day.
Awesome.
But it is a beautiful building.
So
Between that and ours.
on your punch list is, I know there were issues with the rain on Saturday on the outbuilding. Is that on the punch
That's on the
list?
punch list to
Also?
address the bank, that
Okay.
is, you know, bringing silt into the impound lot, which is bringing water into the building.
Okay,
Yeah, we want to put a drain at the back door, and we want to put a drainage around the back of the impound lot. So to bring it back around the back of the building where we have some other.
So is that the site engineer is looking at that and looking at whether the site is the way he designed it, or whether it's not, so whether it's gonna be a change order to fix or not, but we've talked to Franny. And we're pretty much done with that, with the site contractors at both places. We're not gonna give them any more change orders, and we're gonna dump it on Franny. So,
We still have to deal with the sediment pond up front.
okay.
yeah.
Part of that's part of it.
So, but I mean, these guys are asking ridiculous numbers now for things. So,
Of course they are.
yeah, I mean, they're at the end, it's like, hey, you want us to do this? And it's like, $1,000 job is now $10,000, and it's, and then they don't fix it right anyway.
But Walter was there, got a good feeling of what we were up against last night
Yeah.
and what we had directed them. So
Yeah, I was just gonna speak up and, not to be repetitive of what you said, but my main concern last night was, I had asked, because it sounded like when the architect was describing the system, you know, he's basically like, well, the system's in, we designed it, it's functioning, we talked to Train, and everything's okay. Everything's okay, and they're asking, what do you mean it's okay, it's not working? And he's like, well, if we wait a couple days, the humidity's gonna be going down, so it should have no problem. And I was kinda like, we need it to work when it's humid not. So my concern is, we don't want it working good when it's not humid.
it's cool,
Like,
right.
I would hope that unit could make, I mean, especially it's the police station, it's supposedly the command center for this area and everything we have in there, all kind of electronics and everything. So I think we should be able to make that like a cooler in there. I mean, that should be the best
Totally
system
agree.
in the whole entire city. I mean, that should be,
Yeah.
make it like
Emergency
ice
Operations
or,
Center Along with the PD, right?
and the same with the heat. The heat should be able to make that place 100 degrees in the winter,
Yeah.
you know, and
Well, after 2 hours and one special meeting before our regular meeting, you know, we got a bit heated with SPA and Newfield and, you know, gave them deadlines and directives. Period. End of story. At 8 o'clock this morning, they were on the phone with us. What frustrated all of us is, you know, we were moving in today. It started Wednesday. I called SBA, talked to Bob Bing. Thursday called Bob. Friday called Bob. Other members of the permanent project, including Victor, was on this with us all, you know, helping out from the backside. You know, nobody took it serious. That's what got us to the point where we were hot last night about it. And, you know, just laid it on the line with them. And helped
well,
put
it
back
is
last
serious,
night.
right? I mean,
It is serious,
It is.
and we took it serious
Right.
because, you know,
It went on all
right, wrong, or
weekend.
indifferent, we all look at it like it's our personal building.
Right.
And for them to just ignore it, if that was one of the houses I built, my crew would have been there that night. Okay, there's no excuse for that. And Newfield's a much bigger builder than I am, and they have the clout to get their subs there. And they weren't responding.
The problem is it
That's
goes
what
from
we
SBA to Newfield to NCON, you know, back to Newfield, back to SBA. It's I can't use the words I like, but, you know.
But we're heading in the right direction.
is there a way for us to protect ourselves? Like, let's just say they get it where it's meeting the temps and the humidity we want now. But come next year, we have a 95-degree days, 5 in a row, and it's super humid. And really the system, I don't think we should have a system that just gets by.
No,
We
I
should
agree.
have a system that's overkill, like 100%
And I think,
overkill. Like,
You know, from what we were gathering, we've been told it's both ways. It's undersized and it's oversized. We will get it to where we will not have to worry about this. You know, between the filters, between the balancing, you know.
We're hoping that we don't have to spend the money
Right.
and bring a third party
Right.
mechanical engineer in. But because they haven't looked at it. So, you know, it's like they point fingers at each other. Newfield says, well, we don't know what to do because the architect didn't tell us. And then the architect says, well, you haven't given me the balancing report, so I don't know what's going on there. So I can't direct you what to do. And in the meantime, you could go swimming in
Day
there.
after day after
You
day,
know?
nothing gets done.
can we bring a third party in, and even if we do have to pay an amount of money to confirm that that system?
So we could do that.
Yes.
But we wanted to,
Give
you know,
them,
we've got the 10 units in there that are dehumidifying. And I mean, like you were there when he goes, oh, it's good. It's down to 71% now. So we're heading in the right direction. It's like, no, there's 10 portable units in there.
They had the 10 units running plus the portable, they had the air conditioners.
Yeah, it's-
The
we
had
portable
like-
system was
10
just
units in
running.
there.
Right.
So,
So, and I checked with other mechanical engineers and then I verified it today because they weren't believing me last night. The design criteria, you start, the sweet spot when you're designing a system is 50% humidity in the summer. So that's where the design should have started. So I'm hopeful that that's where it was designed. I mean, Train was out there last week and said, our equipment will do this. It's not programmed and you don't have the right thermostats to read humidity. But these machines will do it if it's programmed to read humidity and do that. So I believe we have the right equipment in place, but as the rude awakening that I've learned, being on the building committee with commercial builders is everything's extra. When they make mistakes, the town pays for it, and they don't move until you know, where any of us or any of you sitting there, you would have fixed it and worried about how you were getting paid later. These guys aren't going to move until somebody's giving them a piece of paper that says, yeah, go fix it.
And ironically,
and we'll pay you
for
later.
$3,500, they're gonna come out and balance it.
Right. So we had to agree to that
Why
today.
would we
But it
pay
has
for
to
that?
be-
Why
I'm
would
sorry.
we have
Again,
to pay for
because
that's
that?
false readings because it wasn't correct.
It wasn't balanced.
Right.
We need, you know, we signed the paper that we'll pay the $3,500, but that doesn't mean we're gonna pay the
Right.
$3,500. We had to do that to get them out there to redo it. And then the architect last night said that they owe us one additional setup. So I'm not sure why this wouldn't count
qualify
that.
under that.
But it's never been right, so it will be right.
What's the setup?
Right. Well, and the balance report, we still don't have. They might have had it today, SBA. They were supposed to get on.
Also, I'd like to thank Victor and also Lou for
Oh, God, yeah.
going out of their way to go and
Definitely.
drag these 10 units to bring them in the building. So,
I mean, Lou got them overnight.
Right.
Yeah.
Lou called it in.
And
they had
He had
a
a
run to
contract.
Cheshire
And
or something like
SBA,
that.
you know, and Newfield is like, well, we can get some next week.
They were gonna get them as of tomorrow. They said they can get them.
So,
Right, so Lou found them and went with Victor
And so-
and grabbed them.
So SBA is supposed to pay Lou and his company.
And that's the other thing, Lou is an expert in this field, so we have an ace in the hole that sits there with us. So,
Just so everybody knows what they're talking about, though, there's all these like home dehumidifiers, other humidifiers all around the whole entire police station with hoses running all over the floor.
Yeah,
This is, I mean, the
little
police are moving in,
humidifiers
there's
and the big
hoses all
Yeah,
over the
because
place.
the commercial ones and a bunch of little ones.
Yeah, and they're taking out 300 gallons, which is like an oil tank of liquid a day, every day.
And the backup air conditioners aren't enough
We're just
to do anything.
So in his comment.
with clogged filters,
Right.
the system wouldn't work.
And his comment from, 87, 88% humidity to 70, he thinks
We're doing good.
We're doing good.
No.
But anyway.
So we're gonna
Okay.
get it.
And
All right.
I have two questions. One's for you guys, one's for Brian. The first one is, what's being done about the damage that was done to the building because of the humidity? I saw water around the vents; those are going to rust. I've heard maybe that the insulation is soaking wet,
Sweating.
and then paint was peeling and stuff like that. So
We got some trim.
so where do we stand with that? Who's on the hook for that? And then I have a second part for Brian.
So the contractor's on the hook for that.
It's all part of the budget.
Unfortunately, it may be the building committee going through and making a list for it, because the architect, like I said, he made his punch list. So, and then we're looking at, not to make it worse, but we're looking at, getting the infrared guns that shoot the building and see, okay, do we have another problem? Is it not insulated properly?
And when they balance it, they're going to balance it without those 10 units running, correct? They're going to balance it with just the system, right?
By itself, right. Because that's going to be an issue with the dehumidifiers in there. But Lou had said, let's leave them in for the rest of this week and readdress it. We gave them till the 26th to solve the problem and report to us on the 29th. Today they started, but Lou said we're going to leave the dehumidifiers in there until at least Friday.
And there is some damage. Some of
Yeah.
the trim has swollen
Yeah.
and open joints, and just like it's done in any of our houses,
We
air
were-
conditioning goes down and it's humid.
To your point, we were there 2 hours today, writing an additional punch list to forward it to Mike, to forward it to SBA by tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
We're
Brian?
aware of it.
Yeah, Brian, my question for you, and this is not, I'm not looking to place blame, I'm not looking to beat anybody up over this, it's simply an exposure question for the town. The fact that the balancing report was not received before the town issued the TCL on the unit, how does that affect the town's exposure? Does that open us up to exposure, or are things still covered? How does that work?
First you have separate counsel for the project, but in general, you should be fine because it's only a temporary certificate of occupancy.
it's a 90-day TC.
These are, if you get the balancing report later, you've got warranties, you've got work that needs to be done, you should be protected in that regard.
So we're still good?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
coming.
being on top
Thank
of
you.
all
I'll give you a
Thank you.
report once we get another couple of meetings about the high school.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
Okay. On to citizens' statements, petitions, and correspondence. Do we have any citizen statements at this time? Okay. There are no resignations or appointments listed. Unfinished business. Discussion and action on the establishment of a town flag.
We're pushing that right.
Yeah.
So all I want to do tonight is, per the council's request, we're going to be having a vote take place at the Potato and Corn Festival.
And Mike has all three
And
samples.
I've gotten, for your direction, now all three versions. And if you want me to show you what they look like, but these are the ones that we'll be voting on.
That looks good.
Yeah.
This is the
Where's Jeff's?
Where's the
all
purple
blue
one?
one.
Where's
It's
Jeff's?
coming.
Where's Jeff's? I wanted one that was straight, so I got a no vote.
It's
Too busy.
red, white, and blue. And
It's Cuba.
Ryan, hold the purple one.
What I don't like, I'm gonna hold up. For the record.
I like the blue one the best.
No, I like the blue one.
I gotta go.
And we'll have
Oh, yours is upside down, Brian.
Seems about right.
Doesn't help it either way, so.
I like Mike's.
So
The purple one doesn't work, I'm gonna take it home with me.
if the purple one,
planning on doing the vote is, we'll have,
The blue one looks better.
instead of manning it, we'll have a QR code posted where people can vote online, and basically SurveyMonkey is just gonna take a tally of the vote of, people doing it. Will you be able to vote more than once?
Can we override the vote if we like?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. You can take the vote and get a fourth flag, it's fine.
Mike's gonna be out there the entire night voting.
I'm gonna be sitting there for like 3 hours.
Mike, what have you been doing on vote number 3,000?
Can we make the blue one twice as big as the other two?
I like your thinking.
Okay, so that will come to us at our August meeting. We should have the results because it's from the POCO. So at our August meeting, we should be able to make the decision as to what the town flag will be on that. Okay, on to new business. First item is agreement with the Tutucket Historical Society concerning renovation of the Little Red Schoolhouse.
So in your packet tonight, we have a draft agreement, which is between the town and, there was a Scrivener's error, as I noted. There's the corrected version is, it was just a misnumbering, but the agreement that you had in your packets was complete and accurate. But this has been reviewed by the Historical Society and our town attorney and is approved, and certainly they're here for us tonight, and we could hear from them about what they're planning to do in terms of renovation.
Great. Good evening. For the record, my name is Don Summers. I live in Northford at 261 Old Post Road, right down the street from the Little Red Schoolhouse. As Mike just mentioned, I'm a member of the Tutucket Historical Society, and I'm also the project manager for the Little Red Schoolhouse restoration. I'm here along with Donna Summers and Mary Ellen Dalella to get permission from the town to start and finish the restoration of the Little Red Schoolhouse. Mike Downs, myself, and the town lawyer have approved a formal agreement that will allow us to get going with this project. We have raised enough money to get this project underway thanks to the town, the state, private and business donations. Raising money for this project will be ongoing, which include government grants and additional fundraisers. Lots of educated and experienced eyes have taken hard looks at this building. An assessment and condition report was performed by a historic building architect last year, funded by the state, by the way. Also, an historic building contractor has also inspected this building. My background briefly is I have 25 years worth of experience in building timber frame barns, and this building obviously is a timber frame construction. He has a lot of experience restoring old buildings. Right now he's working on one of the center churches in New Haven. So needless to say, there's a sense of urgency to get this project going. The roof is very decrepit, small signs of leak. The roof is made out of cedar, and if you take a good look at it, it's decaying. There's moss on it. There's holes in the roof. Fortunately, the town has put some tarps over it just to mitigate any leaking issues. So as a result, fixing the roof is the highest priority at the moment. We want to make sure it's weather intact. So we're going to focus on that first. That's all I have. Mike, anything more to weigh in on? Or?
I don't think so. I think we're just excited and happy to be at the point where we're ready to start this. I think everybody's excited to see after all this fundraising effort and the efforts of the town to see it come together.
So I guess all we need is approval from the council to go forward.
Yep, so we have a suggestion motion on page 18. Someone like to read that?
Motion that North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes Town Manager Michael P. Downs to enter into an agreement with the Tutucket Historical Society to commence restoration work at property at 3 Old Post Road, Northford, Connecticut, known as the Little Red Schoolhouse.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. You're ready to go.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
luck.
Thank you. When will it start? When will it start?
Done.
I'm sorry.
When will it start?
We have a bid from the experienced roofer with historic buildings. I was just waiting for approval before we move forward. When I talked to him about a week or so ago, he'd be available in 2-3 weeks. So I
need to follow up with them tomorrow.
So
Great.
you'll be managing that project, Mr.
Yes.
Summers? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item is proposed North Branford High School Athletic Storage Building. Mr. Florio.
Hello, everyone. I'm here on request of the superintendent. Superintendent would just like to know if the town had any opposition to us moving forward with the permit process to construct the storage building. We want to get rid of the 5 storage trailers that are on the practice field. We want to build a 30 by 80 storage building that will house athletic storage for our track and field, football, or outdoor sports. That equipment's getting ruined now in the storage trailers. Constantly have to replace it due to mold and rodents and stuff like that. We also want to house the golf carts in there. So we get them out of the auto shop, but the auto shop teachers have to keep pulling the golf carts in and out every time he has class, and they should be out at the field anyway. And also we want to use a section for overflow storage. None of our schools have any storage anymore. We're busting out. We always have things that we want to hang on to. We don't want to throw them away because they're good, but we have nowhere to store them. So, sometimes if a classroom has 22 students one year and 18 the next, the teachers want the 4 desks out. What do we do with them? Fire marshal keeps on us not to store stuff in certain areas, so we like to have a section in this garage for that. And also bulk delivery. A lot of times I have opportunities to buy bulk delivery at a very low price on some of our supplies, and this would be a great place to store bulk deliveries and then distribute them to the rest of the schools. So last year I did have an impromptu meeting with the town engineer and the building inspector at the site, see if they had any objections to where we wanted to put it. The town engineer said he would let us know how far we have to keep the building from the wetlands. As you know, it's a little wet back there. And then the building inspector, I talked to him about what he wanted there for a foundation and a slab and construction of the building. And if we are to go forward, I'll supply him with a set of plans, of course. And so we just want to know if the town has any opposition of starting that process.
Okay, so 2 questions. So is it a pre-formed building, like
No,
a Munger building, or is it
This is
going
going
to
to be a construction project in conjunction with the wood shop class and the graphic design class. The wood shop teachers, you all know me, I am a proponent of people going out in the trades, and we want to get kids interested in the trades, and we do have a group that's interested in the trade. We want to have them involved in this entire project.
Cool.
I already sat down with the last year's class to teach them how to make a material list. They are going to design the building along with we do have a lot of volunteer help. We have an engineer, we have some local builders who have already pledged to help us out on this project, and we want to get the kids involved. We want them to be involved building this building. We want them to be proud of they had a chance to put this up. And,
so is all the money raised?
What's that?
Is all the money raised to put it up?
That's the superintendent's issue. That's not mine. He told me he's all set. Go ahead and talk to the town council.
Perfect.
Well, if he's got the money,
He's
we
not
think it's a
asking
great
you.
thing.
He told me to tell you he's not asking you for funding.
I think it makes a lot of sense. If there's not overflow and it's going to help with overflow, it's going to keep our equipment together, and there's not a funding issue, then yeah.
Well, the only issue becomes that because this is part of the high school and the building project, that this project has to get referred to the Permanent Project Building Committee to oversee it because it's part of that project.
Yeah, I sit on the project building committee's meetings every Monday. I will definitely keep them appraised and get their okay and have everybody take a look at it, especially Al, to make sure that we're doing everything correctly. But we have concrete contractors. We have local builders. We've already spoke to supply companies. It's going to be a truss roof. The trusses have already been designed. So we just have to put the final blueprint plan together for the building inspector.
So is he, I'm sorry, is he creating a new, a carpentry class? Or something to that effect for these students?
Actually,
Out of wood shop?
one of the shop teachers already runs, as part of the wood shop, already runs what he calls a home maintenance class. So they talk about remodeling, they talk about electrical and plumbing and all
This
kinds
isn't
of stuff. I've sat
remodeling,
in
this
on
is
a lot of
carpentry.
them. Teach kids about plumbing. It really is great. We have two great shop teachers that are really dedicated to the kids.
So they're gonna
Hands-on.
do, they're gonna do everything. They're gonna do the electrical, they're gonna do
No,
the
no, no,
plumbing.
no, they're not going to do any electrical work. There's no plumbing in it. So it's strictly a storage building. Our local electrician will do the wiring for the lights. It's,
Okay.
they'll be hands-on to see, they'll be on site and participate in what they can. Of course, they can't do everything, but we'll get them involved in some of the parts of it. So at least they'll actually be able to see the whole issue from start to finish. Design, material list.
So then,
footings,
part of that
footings,
should be coming
foundation,
to the
building,
permanent
roof.
project building committee, so
What's
that,
that?
part of it should be that they take turns coming to the permanent project building committee,
And you
so
know
they
what?
can
I
see
could
the whole
prob-
process,
I could probably
because they're
convince-
gonna have
I could
the,
probably convince a couple of them to do that.
because they're gonna
Yeah,
have the final
exactly.
say on the whole thing. Because
Yeah.
you don't have any prints yet, right? You don't have a design?
We don't,
or prints?
we have an idea what we want to do. It's a strict gable-ended storage building, It's nothing out of the ordinary. But we have to have something for Steve when we go for the permit. We'll definitely have a set for him.
Okay.
So the thing that makes me nervous is that you don't have a set of plans yet, but yet the funding's all set.
Well,
So that's.
we don't have a
anytime
new
yeah.
set of plans.
So anytime somebody tells me the funding's all set.
Yep.
Without a set of plans or anything put together.
Yep.
That's a red flag for me.
Well, we had what we wanted to do, a 30 by 80 building. It was going to be masonry walls and a truss roof. We're now going with wood frame walls and siding and a truss roof due to the monetary masonry versus wood. But it's a very simple design. I have a picture of the same exact building we want to do. So when it came to the wood and everything that's involved, all I really needed was the 30 by 80 design, the height I'm going, what kind I'm doing, and any lumber yard could figure out a material list and give me the cost.
Everyone covered
And
that.
I'm not,
local-
if you
local
guys
co-
are gonna self-fund, I'm not against it. I just can't approve something without seeing
So what
plans and numbers.
So
And I think what we're doing here is we're not
the ability
proving
for them
anything,
to
we're
sit
recommending
there
to go to
and
permanent
start
project.
the
Well, I don't know.
project?
It's not-
No, well, we have to give them permission
Just give us, all we're looking for is
so
okay
that they can
with
construct
you
it, and then it gets referred to permanent
to
project,
get
and then
started.
they have to follow all of the rules of
Exactly.
permitting, but they can't start that process until we give them permission that they can build
Nobody
it.
here wants a clear understanding of where the money's coming from? Nobody cares?
Oh, it sounds like there's a lot
I'm
of
trying to figure out where
volunteer.
it's coming from. 'Cause,
That-
listen, I'm a big proponent
Yep.
I am too.
of them completely. And this is something that, I mean, obviously we've been talking about, and Scott's been talking about, and now all of a sudden, poof, the money just appears. So, yeah, I have the same issue.
As far as
I
the
am
funding
so, I am
goes,
so behind this,
you guys
absolutely.
can speak to the
but I'm-
superintendent.
Like,
I agree.
where is the money?
I agree. I'm in full support of it, especially
That's
if you guys are gonna self-fund.
$90,000.
Just, the town attorney
So
would like
perhaps
to.
you can approve the
That
concept,
was
subject
90
to them
grand.
coming back with a budget, including a source of funding and plans for
I
your
think
approval.
that's what makes sense.
But there is no concept, right?
Yeah,
Currently.
The concept, no, you're approving the
there is a
concept
Needs
of
approval
There is a
them
concept.
forward.
building a
There is a
building of
concept.
approximate certain size at
So-
the school,
Yeah.
subject to before they put a shovel in the ground, they have to come back with a budget, a set of plans, and a
Yeah.
source of
Fair
funding
enough.
for your approval.
That's fair enough, sure.
So you're telling them, okay, we like the idea, but you're not starting it until you show what it's gonna cost and that you're gonna.
That's fair enough, sure.
pay for it, so it'll give you that protection I think you need.
Exactly, that's all we're looking for is your,
Is it gonna be
What?
heated?
we saved
Insulated?
we
And-
saved the hung unit heater that we had in the greenhouse, which was oversized for the greenhouse. And we're gonna install that in there. It's an LP gas hung unit heater. We're not looking to heat that building to 90 degrees in the wintertime. We'll take the chill out of it. That unit heater will maintain that building very easily at 50.
Well, I'm just, I was asking because of the issues now about the mold and everything else, and if it's not gonna be heated or anything else, are
It's
we gonna
go-
eliminate those issues, or
We'll
are we?
be eliminating those
address-
issues. It's gonna have thermostatic roof ventilation, and it's gonna have hung unit gas heaters. So
Right.
we have that taken care of.
All right.
We're
We're hearing
coming
more.
back in front of us anyway, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea, you have to come back to us. After you get all the,
Yeah, well, like I
all the
said,
ducks in a row.
not a problem. I have to
Right.
supply a set of prints anyway to the town. So once we finally decide on exactly what we want and we have that set, I will definitely work through the building committee with that. And I could run it by them and they could even tell you that they're good or whatever.
Thank you for doing this too, and thank you for including the students. I was involved when I was in high school with a similar project, and it was a real sense of pride, and we all took a picture in front of it when we were done and stuff, so it's a good learning experience.
This will be our third project with the students. The students built the ticket booth, and the students built this stand on the bleachers. So,
Right.
you know, this will be our third project with the kids, and be great.
Hope you covered your furniture.
Okay,
We
so,
were in the garden before I came.
Yeah.
so Brian, what's the wording we should use in our motion, because we don't have a motion?
Let's
in
have
our
a motion that the North Branford Town Council approves the concept of an athletic storage building at the North Branford High School, subject to the Board of Education coming back with specific plans, a budget for construction, and proof of source of sufficient funding for the same.
My motion is stipulated by town attorney.
And can we add in about the referral to the permanent project building?
Oh, and I will
Okay,
add
that's
to my
better be
motion,
referral to-
in addition, referral to the permanent project building committee.
Second.
Okay, so the motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Miller. Any further discussion? All in-
Brian,
oh,
I want to finish this. I have another question to bring up after. It has nothing to do with this, though.
Oh, okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you all.
all right, John.
Thank you,
John,
John.
while we have you in the hot seat, Brian, am I allowed to ask him a question from something back earlier in the meeting? He did mention permanent projects, so is there a way for me to go backwards a little bit, or I can't bring up something?
Yeah.
You're asking him a question about that?
Yes,
If you want to. I mean,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not,
just want to make sure. John, what do you think when you hear about the police station issues with the heat and air conditioning? Because I trust you.
I'm a
more
Board of
than-
Ed guy. You know, like I said, I sit at the committee meetings, I listen to it all. There's a lot of excuses. And a lot of poor excuses for not doing what they're supposed to. Listen, I'm not a great proponent of train equipment. You've seen what the problems we've had with train equipment at the high school and how long it takes to get it under control and working properly. But I will say that if you have a good energy management system and a company that's on the ball, like we have at the two schools, it makes it a lot easier. There was no way they were ever going to balance that system without changing to brand new filters. So I don't know why they even bothered trying to balance the system without anybody checking the filters first. That's the first thing you have to do. So, I mean, it just sounds like, to me, exactly what Al and Dave said. It sounds like there's a lot of apprentices on the job, and it sounds like there's really not a lot of good licensed professional people keeping up on what you're supposed to do to have a building operate correctly. That's what it sounds like to me. Kenny Ash tells me every day about the stuff that going on over there that he has seen. Kenny knows what he's talking about too. And to tell you the truth, it's a shame. Town's paying good money, and when you have to argue with these contractors over and over and over to get what you're paying for. But Lou knows what he's talking about, it's guaranteed. I would go by what Lou says, he knows his stuff, but it does take a long time, very long time, to balance out this new equipment. It takes forever. It took a long time into high school to finally get it equal out. Now we're gonna start all over again with the second phase. So but there's no way it should be 80% humidity in a brand new building with a state-of-the-art HVAC system.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but thanks.
No problem. And to echo what they said, Barrett Roofing is doing a heck of a job at the intermediate school.
It looks there, really.
I meet with them every day.
I look
Chris
at it
is
every morning.
unbelievable, and they're doing a fantastic job over there.
I love the way it fits into the rest of the campus too.
It's actually
it's tying it all in.
It's actually making that ugly building look nice.
Yeah.
That's, really good.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Okay, the next item, refer the Park and Recreation Pavilion to the Permanent Project Building Committee. This is actually due to the cost of this project and also, the athletic building for the high school. And they are going to be town buildings. It was just an oversight on our part. This should have been done a couple months ago when we approved the funding for it. So there is a suggested motion on page 24.
The North Branford Town Council hereby refers the proposed Parks and Recreation Pavilion project to the Permanent Project Building Committee.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Councilor Abelson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. The next item is the POCO Festival 2024, request to hold special event for sale of beer, wine, and pre-mixed margaritas.
That's a big yes for me.
Okay, so
With the stipulation they bring those margaritas in for us to try first?
So they did come before the last meeting and ask for beer and wine as they have in the past. This year we have a new vendor that is the vendor for the beer and wine tent. And it's Los Mariachis out of Wallingford. And he has asked if they could serve margaritas, which has hard alcohol in it, which was not approved by the council. I did talk to the police chief because that goes to the police department first if they would allow that before it would have to come here. So the stipulation is, and Los Mariachis also had told us this, is that they would not be mixing them on site. They would be mixing at their restaurant in Wallingford and be bringing them here. So there would be no hard alcohol on site that they're mixing. So it's pre-mixed, and the chief was fine with this. So this is why it's come back to us.
So it's one giant cooler of margaritas?
It's the big tanks. They make that.
Does that change the license that's needed or anything? Or the
No,
permit?
They'll hold it.
they have a mobile catering license now because they have food trucks and everything. So they are carrying the insurance, the liquor liability, everything is on them for that.
Por favor.
It would only be one or two types of margaritas. It's not that you can order all these different kinds. We will specify to them which ones we want. They do have an absolutely wonderful fresh strawberry margarita, and that might be one of them that we choose.
Mango.
And just so you know that any volunteer for the POCO Fest cannot, of age, go into, or in uniform, cannot go into the beer and wine tent and drink with a POCO shirt on or uniform. You can turn, when your shift is over, you can turn your shirt on inside out and you can go in and, you know.
Have a margarita.
Yes. So it's fine. So there is a suggested motion on page 27 of our packet here for
North River Town Council hereby permits the sale of beer, wine, and pre-mixed margaritas at the 2024 Potato and Corn Festival.
Second.
The motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Any further discussion?
I'd like to maybe put a damper on it. I love margaritas, but my
But I'm a
concern
martini
is,
guy.
are we sure that we want to step it up to that? Do we want to do that? Are you sure we want to go to that next step? You know, is next year, is it going to be grain alcohol punch? You know what I mean? Are we going to keep going? You know what I mean? It's like,
It depends on who we get.
Poco meth?
This is the first year we're having this vendor do the beer and wine tent. Last year we had someone else. And we did have some other issues with him, with that company, and we chose to look elsewhere for this year. So my personal feeling is I think we need to try it and see how it goes. And I did talk to the chief first before it even came to this level to see what his feeling was on it. And he was fine with it because there's no hard alcohol on site.
Honestly, I actually did the tent last year, and everybody that came in, they were very responsible. They were.
And we do limit the number of drinks they can buy in an hour also in the tent.
Rose, do any of the volunteers or the people running the POCO have the ability to tell the vendor no more for that person?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's something people working
And all of their servers have to be, what's the term?
Tip certified.
Tips.
They don't have to be.
Oh, they don't have to be?
But he is doing it with these employees that he's having.
Okay. Tip certified.
I'm sure they took this all into consideration.
So like last year, Nick and I volunteered, so if we identified somebody as having had too much, we can go up to them and then they have to
Yes.
abide by that.
Absolutely. And if we have any problems, that if they're not listening to you, we have a number of police officers on staff. I did ask Jimmy if they had any issues, the chief, if they had any issues last year with the beer and wine garden, because it was really the first year that we did it this way. And he said that's not the population that he's concerned about.
but that was beer and wine.
Yes.
It wasn't.
But there was like no issues at all with it. I mean, I value your opinion and you're welcome to have it and you can vote whatever way you would like. That's fine. So.
Once again, I think they took this all into consideration anyway, so.
Yes.
It all goes the same. They can't walk out of it. They cannot walk out with it. Even if, and people tried and.
It doesn't really change the alcohol percentages,
say,
whether it's a malt or
some of the lagers that may be there.
Yeah, it's going to be same alcohol content in the way in that capacity. I think when you have hard alcohol, you have to worry about people taking shots, and shots are much smaller, much easier to take, and a lot more alcohol consumption can take place. But this will have, like, for instance, the craze for most of these seltzers. Well, most seltzers have moved away from malt liquor because malt is kind of gross, and they've gone to a tequila or a vodka base because it's a cleaner liquor. It tends to, I think, metabolize better. So I think most people tend to like that better. I wouldn't think it's going to change much in the way of how someone's going to get intoxicated. That's what I would assume.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. No.
Abstain. Motion carries with one no. Next item is appropriation transfers.
Yes, good evening. You basically have three separate items before you. The first one in the non-shaded area is some minor changes in the mayor and council departments, covering some small overages. The first block in the shaded area is from the community center. You'll see that they're transferring money to cover some failing kitchen equipment, as well as some additional maintenance costs. And the bottom shaded block is looking to take some surpluses they had in the current year and kick them out to the park maintenance reserve fund.
Okay, I know Jesse is here tonight, the Director of Park Rec. Can you just come up for a minute behind it? So can you just, I know the Park Maintenance Reserve Fund is huge to your department. Can you just explain the benefit of being able to take some of this money and put it into?
Absolutely. So the money that's left over this year is from electricity. When we budgeted the STW building, we were working with the Board of Ed for the first time, splitting the costs and figuring that all out. So we also had a mild winter, so our electric bills were less, and our heating bills were less, so we're able to have a surplus this year. The park maintenance reserve is kind of critical to what Franny and I do to keep up with the parks. A lot of times we did over $10,000 in fencing repairs this year, to fix Turtucket Valley, to fix STW, to keep it safe. If we had to come before town council and go before the rec commission every single time we need to make one of those repairs, it delays safety issues for the season. So by being able to have the park maintenance reserve and keep that funded, it helps us to do the critical repairs that we need to do. We just had a bench split that's an ADA split. It'll be paid out of the park maintenance reserve instead of trying to figure out how to come up with $1,200 to fix a bench. So $30,000 may seem like a lot, but it goes very quickly when you have these critical safety repairs at the parks that need to happen. So that's my request for the funding. Any other questions?
This doesn't negate the limit that's set by the town, right? Like, she's still only allowed up to a certain amount.
This fund is under Franny, so it'd be under the $15,000 bid fund.
Okay.
Correct, and the fence maintenance bid is on a state contract, which is why we were able to do those repairs without going out to bid.
Perfect. I just want to make sure we should keep
Yep,
everything.
we still follow all of the standard protocols for this account.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right. Okay, so do I have a motion for the,
North Branford Town Council hereby approves the following appropriation transfers as recommended by town manager and the town treasurer finance director.
Second.
motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Councilor Miller. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next item is recommended changes to administrator's benefit policy. So this has, we've had several discussions on this. So I think at the last executive session that we had that we talked about this, we came up with what we were going to approve off of this. So there's 4 items, as you will see on page 30 here. So do I hear a motion?
Could I just ask a
Yep.
question first? I thought we hadn't decided about Juneteenth though, for number 4.
We did, because none of the other bargaining units had gotten it, so we were not.
So that wouldn't be in number 4?
4 we would not do, correct. These were their proposals. It's not, it doesn't mean that we're giving all of these on here. This is what they came forward with, and after we discussed it, I believe the consensus was to act on number 1 and number 3 from our discussions of what they had proposed on here. So do I hear a motion to grant proposal number 1 for the administrators? It's the biennial equity adjustment for salary ranges. And number 3 is a $200 increase in the employer match to the 457B deferred compensation plan.
So moved. Do I have to read it?
No. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made by Counselor Abelson, seconded by Counselor Palicia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
I'm going to abstain. I wasn't here for that conversation. You guys
Okay.
discussed it.
Okay, motion carries. Next item is agreement between South Central Regional Council of Government and the Town of North Branford for the Regional Cybersecurity and Protection Program.
You may recall, this is a contingency appropriation that you folks previously endorsed and made the money transfer already to the contingency appropriation. This is now the language to actually enact the study. This was phase one of a cybersecurity audit that will dictate what needs to be done, if anything, in phases 2, 3, and 4 subsequently. But you can't proceed until you undertake phase one. And as is mentioned in the memo, the Council of Government got a grant, and they're funding a portion of it, and the balance is on us. And again, you guys previously approved that at a prior town council meeting.
Okay.
That the North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes Town Manager Michael P. Downs to sign this agreement between the South Central Regional Council of Governments and the Town of North Branford for the Regional Cyber Security Protection Program.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. The next item is review and approval of specification for RFP 925009 tax and assessment software.
Madam Mayor, council will remember last month that we heard from our tax collector and our assessor with regards to a desire to move forward with changes in the software, and you heard about those software programs. This bid spec is before you tonight to begin that process.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve specs for RFP 925009?
I move that we approve RFP 925009 for the tax and assessment software program.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Goad. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Before we go on to the next item, I just need to make a motion. We need someone to make a motion to add, we need to add to executive session discussion on additional police personnel.
Motion is stipulated.
Second.
Motion to amend the agenda was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Counselor Diamond. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We should list who's included in it as well.
But we aren't.
Well, we're not in that yet.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
We're just,
You were
we're
just in
just
the-
amending.
yeah, sorry. Right.
Okay,
What was that? That would be B.
B.
Okay.
Okay. Now on to citizen statements and petitions. Any citizen statements? Okay.
Motion to adjourn to executive session, including town attorney, town manager, Chief Lovelace, Anthony?
Finance director?
Finance director,
I should also have the assistant town.
and an assistant town manager as well. No. Anyone else? Did I miss anyone?
No?
No? Thank you.
Oh, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion was made and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Okay. Yes, we have.
For the first part.